He allegedly put his 4-year-old half-sister inside a container she couldn't escape from and placed it in the woods. Those parents were running down the sidewalk carrying their little children in tears, trying to figure out where their children were. Greenville County deputies are covering Sulphur Springs Road right now where we are. Here's a message actually from deputies. What things look like right now. This is Martin Road. You can see a huge chunk of the road just completely torn away. Kids, you can make a snowball out of this. This is the good kind of snow. I'm from up north, and this is the perfect snow to play in. If you're traveling on I-85 this weekend, you'll still see SCDOT crews working to remove those chutes. The need for lifeguards and staff is even greater than last year. Opening Saturday, it's still looking for more people to keep things afloat. Not only will law enforcement officers have bulletproof vests, now firefighters in Spartanburg County will suit up in these vests because they're often the ones on the front lines of an active shooter situation. And Nigel, that verdict was handed down just minutes ago. It took jurors a little under 4 hours to find Ray Kelly guilty of murder in the death of Sergeant Conley Jumper. Here is a look now after everything is said and done at Martin Road here in Anderson. Washed out right here. Like you said, this is where that water rescue happened this morning. Crews say the call came in around 6:30. That's when crews say a car flew off Martin Road here. It actually flew under this huge pipe right here. Floodwaters rushing it downstream, carrying it several hundred yards that way. Thankfully, crews say that driver did get out of the car. Floodwaters ripped through Anderson County early Thursday morning. This just one of multiple water rescues.
Evidently, he ran off, and the car was entrapped in the water. Of course, it rolled over, and luckily the person that made the call to dispatch said they seen the door open, so we had hope that they had gotten out of the car.
Crews say floodwaters whisked this car several hundred yards off the road. The driver thankfully able to escape.
Because the car was completely 180 upside down when it came to rest or stopped.
Around the corner on Fire Tower Road in Williamston.
Seems like this is more common events the flooding is what we've dealt with the most. So it's pretty bad.
A partial washout and indefinite closure.
We're dealing with 30 roads flooded. We've had 2 permanent closures.
Another, he says, on Massey Road. He adds the bridge on Fire Tower was patched after flooding just a year or 2 ago.
Clearly now there's a bigger problem here that it's happened again, so we will dig a little deeper this time on this bridge.
The flooding even dumping wildlife out onto a neighborhood golf course.
All of this that's flooded today will most likely probably flood again tomorrow.
If you have large amounts of water coming across the roadway, do not approach it. Do not go through it. Your car is not as heavy as you think it is, and it will start floating and drifting.
And now Hogan says Martin Road here is a state road. Fire Tower and Massey are county roads. He says those ones could take several months to repair. Of course, Martin Road, as you can see behind me, washed out, impassable, will also be closed for a little while right now. And like you just heard Hogan say, some of this rain coming down right now could cause similar places to flood here in Anderson County, warning drivers and neighbors to be careful. For now, we are live in Anderson County. Kylie Jones, WYFF News 4. It is just unimaginable tonight. That woman is inside Greenville Memorial Hospital fighting for her life. We spoke exclusively to her family. They say it's so horrific they wouldn't wish it on their worst enemy. We do want to warn you, some of the details are disturbing.
This is the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
A vicious attack leaves a woman clinging to life.
The way she looks right now, it's not her.
Kylie Waltman's family says she was walking home Monday morning in Honeypath when she was brutally attacked by 3 dogs.
She had both of her arms amputated. She's got lacerations on her face.
Amy Wynn says a neighbor found her sister in a ditch, still being attacked. She says he went to get a gun and shot into the air to scare the dogs away. Kylie was airlifted to Greenville Memorial Hospital.
Her whole demeanor, everything about her has changed. Whether I know she's woke up, which is good. She's actually woke up. But it's not her.
Kylie's family says she also had to have her colon removed and may need her esophagus removed.
Knowing Kylie, she's not going to want to live. She's not going to want to live like this. She's got too much pride to rely on someone else.
The Abbeville County Sheriff's Office says animal control took the dogs and it's now investigating.
I don't wish it on no one. I don't want it to happen to no one, and I daggum sure don't want to go through it again. I don't want anyone to have to experience what we're going through right now with it.
Praying her sister makes it, Wynn says she'll do whatever she can to see the owner of the dogs held accountable.
But it could have been prevented. If them dogs were locked up, or if them dogs were chained up, or if they were never there to begin with, it would have never happened.
And Kylie's family has started a GoFundMe for her medical expenses. They say she doesn't have medical insurance and has a long road ahead of her. They want to express their gratitude for all of the support they've received so far. They want to especially thank that man who they say helped save Kylie's life. Live in Greenville, Kylie Jones, WYFF News 4. A multi-layer scam unraveled in a Franklin County courtroom. Gabrielle Butler admitted to child cruelty, pretending to be a veteran and a Purple Heart recipient. The district attorney's office says Butler lied about serving in the Air Force in Afghanistan.
She purported that she had been injured in the military to the extent of losing a leg in the military, when in fact, I believe it was determined that she never made it out of basic training.
Police Chief Bruce Carlisle says Butler joined the Livonia VFW and was elected as post commander. For months, prosecutors say she took money from the VFW while using her children as pawns.
All with the belief that this was a veteran of the military that had received a serious injury and was really down on her luck, and now her child had cancer.
Prosecutors say Butler lied about her daughter having terminal cancer, going so far as to shave her head.
None of this would have come to fruition had it not been for the efforts of Officer Jonathan Merck.
Officer Merck and several other veterans were the first to become skeptical of Butler's paperwork.
And there were several inconsistencies, with a lot of her stories and things of that nature and what she was stating.
Merck says they quickly pieced together that none of her information, later determined to be forged, added up.
Every day I look at my hands and I'm reminded of what happened to my buddy, what happened to me.
A former military police officer of 11 years, Merck is a Purple Heart recipient himself.
I got wounded in combat in 2011. That same incident, my buddy that was right next to me got killed.
Reminded of this, Merck holds this case especially close to his heart.
These are his handcuffs. These are his military police issued handcuffs. His name's etched in them right here. You can't see it very well. It's just lightly scratched in there.
It was these handcuffs, he says, that were placed on Butler when she was arrested for fraud.
And I only saw it fitting that someone who claimed to be a Purple Heart recipient and a combat veteran and a security forces officer in the Air Force to be handcuffed with handcuffs that belong to an actual American hero.
In Franklin County, Kylie Jones, WYFF News 4.
This is WYFF News 4 at 6.
As I say, there is damage, there's some heartbreak, there's work to be done, but all in all, it is a good story, another good story for South Carolina.
Cleanup efforts are underway across the Carolinas as Ian made its second landfall on the South Carolina coast. The damage it left behind. And ESPN in Death Valley this weekend. College Game Day is back for the first time in 6 years. The pregame excitement and a live report ahead of the game. And thanks for joining us for your news at 6 tonight. Right now, cleanup efforts are underway on South Carolina's coast following Hurricane Ian. These are Sky 4 videos you're looking at right now out of Cherry Grove, Garden City, and Pawleys Island. Now in Cherry Grove, in that shot right there, damage to this pier and lots of debris could be seen scattered on the beach. Now to the next shot in Garden City, officials are trying to clear the streets of the water and sand left behind from Ian. And Governor Henry McMaster got a close look at some of that damage from Ian today. He traveled to Pawleys Island to survey damage there. Ian brought power outages, flooding, and property damage from downed trees across the Carolinas before taking a helicopter tour of the coast. The governor talked to reporters in Georgetown.
Like the carpenter does, you measure twice and cut once. The young carpenter said, "I don't understand, boss. I cut it off twice. It's still too short." Well, we don't make those. We try not to make those kind of mistakes. So we were watching it very closely, and I think we made the right call.
And now to North Carolina, where Governor Roy Cooper's office says at least 4 people are dead following the storms. 3 of those deaths were in Johnston County. Officials say a man was running a generator in his closed garage and likely died of carbon monoxide poisoning. Also in Johnston County, officials say 2 young adults died in car crashes during the storm. And over in eastern North Carolina, we're told a man drowned when his truck went off the road and was submerged in a flooded swamp. And the death toll continues to rise following Ian's destructive path through Florida. Now here's a before and after picture right here of parts of South Florida right now. There are still some concerns of river flooding. As you can see right here, Ivan Rodriguez has the latest. And turning to our weather right now, here is a look at our Hilton Greenville sky cam. A beautiful day despite yesterday. The difference 24 hours can make. Meteorologist Griffin Hardy is here now with an update. Griffin, how are we looking? All right, Griffin, thank you. Well, it is game day in Death Valley, an extra special weekend for the Clemson Tigers with ESPN's College Game Day back here in town. The Tigers are taking on the NC State Wolfpack. WYFF News 4's Mark Whiteman is joining us live there with some pregame action. Mark, people have been out there for probably 12 hours right now. All right, Mark, thank you. And the fans said a little bit of rain, no problem. Last time ESPN Game Day was here was in 2016 during Hurricane Joaquin, so it only seems fitting, of course. Some Clemson fans camped out all night long just to get a front row spot at the gates for that action. Up before the sun this morning, for some people, that game day energy was in the air early. Ian didn't stop NC State fans either from making the trek down. Everyone excited for a little rivalry and hopefully a good game.
We like to give them a hard time sometimes, but we're usually pretty nice to their fans. And we hope that we get that reciprocation when we visit other places. So that's kind of the idea. And then we're all just looking to have a good time and see them get their butts kicked in the stadiums.
Now, it is important to mention that last time Game Day visited Death Valley amid Hurricane Joaquin, Clemson took down Notre Dame. The special guest picker today was former Clemson great and now Miami Dolphin, Christian Wilkins. Stay with us. We'll be right back.